we had this problem, and this is what we're doing, right? Yeah, and here's another little thing that, getting into this, there was sort of because John had worked in Japan for years for Sony, and
he was the first non-Asian VP in Sony.
Yeah. So
that's obviously a huge deal.
Yeah, and so there was certain Japanese-esque, I guess, little things that we would have to do at work. Monday morning, everybody get up, everybody stand up, everybody get up. All of you, stand up. Okay? Everybody stand up, okay?
This was every Monday morning?
Every Monday morning. We'd all pack into a room the size of this table.
9 a.m. sharp with attendance.
9 a.m. sharp. They took attendance, and everyone would stand around. And John would sit and read, like, the company credo.
And if you got 100% attendance at the end of the year, he gave you $20.
In cash. But what he would do, also, when he gave it to you, is he would be like, I'm going to buy you lunch. And he'd palm it and be like, here. He wouldn't give you, he'd like hide it, but they took attendance, and everybody stood up. And then every morning, someone else would be picked, and it would be like, all right, you. They'd be like, read this, and you would read the sort of the company statement talking about being an ethically profitable international business and growing international business. No, get on there and do it.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember it? You got it.
And like the CPM's sort of theme was, what was it? World peace through shared popular culture. Yeah. And you would read this, and then he'd be like, what does that mean to you? And every week, somebody else would do it. Every week, okay? And even when there was like at max maybe 50 employees, you'd all be in there, and everybody would have to do something. And then it would go around the room and be like, this department, what are you doing? This department, what are you doing? This department, what are you doing? And I gotta tell you, if you had a mistake, one little error in your project that you went to present, I don't know what kind of weird mystic law was going on in there, it would show up in front of him, in front of everyone. Like somebody would be like, I wanted you to see how good the new subtitles look. You can sit down now. But how good the new subtitles look on this disc. Put it in, go to a random spot in the middle of it, and there'd be a typo. It's the only typo on the entire disc, but it would be the one that came out in front of John, and John would lose it in the middle. He just, he would get to he'd turn red and he'd just get all clenchy and be like, what the hell is that? And you have to fix it.
Room would back away.
Oh yeah, everybody would, but like that's what it was like every week. Now let's clear up the shot of the conference room. This company was founded with a very humble beginning, where it was just pretty much 3 employees. It was J.O.D., M.O.D., Masumi O'Donnell, his wife, and Mike Pascuzzi was his first sales manager. And here, of course, is one of our many HeroClix sessions, because we're dorks, and me and Steve will play HeroClix and drink beer after hours. As you can see, it's 8:30.
Take note on the wall of the Blue Girl cell.
That's right. And that's the thing, is we're in this place where there was wall-to-wall anime and tentacles everywhere. Can you see the chairs that we're sitting in? Okay?
Chairs. He called those his $1 million chairs.
That's right. Because he founded the company, and the first furniture he ever got were these like, $2 resin chairs, and he still had them and used them in meetings.
By the way, they were filthy.
Yes. I mean, and you can even see it, like, because there's like scuffs all over the wall and all this stuff.
If you turned them over, they were black.
Yeah. But he hung on to them because it was like this symbol that represented, sort of the humble beginnings that he never wanted to forget.
Oh yeah. One weekend, because the walls were all scuffed, I said, just buy us a 12-pack of beer and we'll just paint all the walls. And he was like, why would you want to spend money on?
That's your point.
Yeah, I don't see the point. Yeah, he was like, why would you want to spend money on painting the walls?
These walls had never been painted, and the carpet had never been cleaned in 15 years.
Yeah. And
mind you, this was kind of a shitty building up on 57th Street, so like sewage would overflow from the sinks. Occasionally there was a fire up on the on a higher floor, and so everything dripped down, flooded the office, and so everything rank of smoke.
Now, see, can you pull on one of those pictures in the back? Oh. I don't know if you can see all the tentacles up there above my head. Okay, that's the sword of Damocles. It's like the tentacle of Damocles is above your head. But so let me and that's another thing, is the tentacle thing, the hentai, okay? Central Park Media had a number of labels, US Manga Core being the biggest one, Software Sculptors was another one. There was Anime 18, which was their hentai division, and Asia Pulp Cinema, which was a huge, giant waste of time. But an interesting learning experience for everybody.
Unless you love Kane as a Tani.
Oh, yeah. Okay, anyway, Ricky Takeuchi, that dude was cool, and our voice of Ricky Takeuchi, of course, is now Wolverine. Wolverine and the X-Men, so good old Steve Bloom. But one of the things you had to do, when they're offering you the job, they hand you this tape, and it's this nasty old beat-up tape, and they're like,
It's a copy of Barotsky Doji.
Barotsky Doji, and they're like, you have to watch this and sign this before you can work here. So, and the thing is, because, hey, listen, basically everybody who's an adult has seen porn in some fashion, okay? And I've seen probably more than a lot of other people at that point. Alright, but still, there's porn in Tennessee, I can guarantee you. But I had never seen anybody, tentacle raped and ripped apart at the end. And everybody's quiet now, right? And that's the thing, is like, that's what happens in that show. So you had to watch this thing and say that I'm okay with this and that this is going to be in the air, and it was almost like a license to talk about anything. It's really what it turned into. It's like sexual harassment kind of doesn't exist, but it was,
Sorry, got sued once.
yeah.
He got sued once by somebody because of a Playboy cup. And
It was just a bunny logo.
Yeah, it was a Playboy bunny.
Yeah.
And with all the tentacle rape and everything else that was going on, to get sued over a Playboy bunny cup.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, it was interesting, that, so you had to deal with this. This was a big part of the job. And this was rough on some people there. Some people like me didn't have such a problem with it.
It's worth noting that, you watch Barotsky Doji, you might be freaked out by it, and then you go into work and everything we worked on was a million times worse.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is because, the genre started changing a little bit, and like the apocalyptic tentacle stuff became passé, and then there was this new stuff, and it was just more graphic, and it was people on people instead of monsters on people, and, it was,
Hitting each other.
So there was all that stuff too. So I mean, but this is something that, you had to work with. And here's the funny story. This, to me, I think is the greatest moment I ever had at Central Park Media. Okay? So we had a title, it was called Yakin Byoto, which is Night Shift Nurses, which is still legendary, And when we got new hentai in, I had to do a content review, and I had to go through it and say, if anything that was sort of out of the ordinary came up, I had to flag it. And then me and Stephanie, I don't know if you have the picture, but me and Stephanie would sit together and watch it. And I'd go, okay, look at this. Okay, look at this. And then she'd look, and then she'd kind of go, because anything that was a problem, that became work. That, so it's, as I've said this before, like, because people giving me crap about, like, 4 kids editing stuff. And it's like, listen, no company is going to spend money to edit and alter something if they don't have to. Standards and practices for 4 kids on Saturday morning TV says no cigarettes, therefore one-piece cigarettes are now lollipops, things like that. But they had to do it. So me and that sweet little woman right there would sit and watch the nastiest stuff together and then have discussions about, like, well, you can't totally see this guy peeing on him. It might be something else, and then sometimes the lawyer